It's time for Abnormalville. It's time for Abnormalville. It's time for Abnormalville. Gonna get a little crazy like you know we will.
Welcome everyone to the very first episode of Abnormalville, or as we like to call it, the Abnormal Hour.
That's right.
I'm your host, Alex Rennie, with my partner,
Brent. And we like to talk over each other.
and Frank Hildebrandt. I thought you said Hugh Grant. It did. Was it talk over each other? It's like Hugh Grant.
Yeah. No, my acting's probably better than his.
You're a better looking dude. Minus the British accent.
Thank you.
That sexy man.
Too sexy for my shit.
Sexy for my body.
Okay, where were we?
So it's funny because I should have had these queued up. We start with the recap from last week, and I don't have these things.
You don't have it. Perfect. This is how real this show is, folks. That's something the other shows are lacking, is realism.
Realism. What we lack is professionalism.
Oh, that's overrated. Anybody can do professionalism. You just hire people.
Right?
We have realism.
Realism. We are a down and dirty show.
That's something you can't buy.
Yeah, this is not happening, man.
Now you're annoying me. There's realism and then there's incapable.
There's incompetence.
There's incompetence and then there's realism. You cross the line.
There we go. Now I should have had those queued up. This is a good learning experience. So.
Okay.
Right on. We are queued.
Gotta go this week. Okay.
So as we start every segment, we do a recap of last week's show, which are basically before and after cartoons. Like, because as you'll find when we do the rest of the show, we do whiteboards, we sketch things out, we play off each other, and then we do here's the before idea, and then the final result, which we're going to share with you last week's results.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So this was one of our ideas going off the COVID-19, where you see tan lines from the masks and things like this. So this was the before. A beautiful, gorgeous sketch.
A very poor job at applying sunscreen.
And then here was the final result of that, which, as you can see, is much more refined.
Yes, outstanding.
And our next cartoon is going off again with the COVID-19 coronavirus. This was Frank's idea. Frank, explain the story behind this idea.
Oh, this one. Yes, a friend talking about his upcoming wedding of his son, and it was going to be in the backyard. They couldn't have the big ceremony because of the coronavirus, la la la. And I said, so they're going to now kiss the bride and they're going to donk safety masks. And I went, pa-ting, that is an idea. That's the sound that always comes when you get an idea. It's 2 syllables. Pa-ting. I mean, in my head, that's how it comes.
And honestly, this was, even though we don't really have a recap for the show last time, this was one of our fastest ideas ever because you literally, this was perfect in every sense.
It took like 15 seconds. Where it was like, okay, what do we do now, right?
It was a record bending. So, and now the before. So here was the sketch we did quickly. We just put it down there, and then here was the final.
Ta-da!
A little more refined and
outstanding.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, with the video feed from the pastor, love it.
Yeah, well, I took it a step further afterwards. Frank liked it, instead of having, because initially the idea was just to give him the 6 feet of,
space,
social distancing, but no, I think it came out really well. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, initially I had donk for the sound, but you had tonk. That's more inventive. That's cool.
You know what's funny, Frank, is I thought of that afterwards. When I went back and looked at the sketch, I was like, oh no, I did the wrong sound effect, but you never said anything, so you obviously liked it. So
I relinquished some of my writing input there.
because I could have changed it. That would have been an easy fix.
It would have been, and I decided, no, let's leave it.
Punk. And it got a lot of
punk anymore. That's what makes it funny. Everybody
It reminds me of Batman, the TV series, right? When the thing would come out,
yeah,
sound effect.
That's the one that they never used on Batman is tunk.
Tunk. It still works.
That's what made that show just to the next level.
Tunk.
Tunk. And there's sound effects, writings.
It's been good if he clocked two of the bad guys' heads together and you heard tunk.
Tunk.
Black spam. Blammo. So there we have it, the before and the afters of last week. So after the recap, this now takes us to our next section, the news break.
This week's news story. So in the news, the Edmonton International Cat Festival has been canceled for this year.
No!
Yes, it is true. So you might ask, how long has this been running?
How long has this been running?
Well, I'll tell you, Alex.
Like
in 2014 is the first inaugural year.
Wow.
Inaugural, yeah.
600
people showed up in the first year.
Wow.
Physically in there, they come gather to this international cat festival. And
so those of you who don't know, Frank is a cat person.
We have 2 cats.
2 cats.
Let me tell you, the more time you spend with a cat, the more personality it creates, it generates. It's wow. I tell you, they're weird.
They're weird.
Had a reflection on me.
Kind of weird. I was gonna say it works really well.
Like if you have an engineer that owns a cat, then you have a cat with glasses, and it figures things out, right? It has a slide rule. I digress. So this year, the Cat Festival comes with a fee of $10, and then you can go online and watch 7 hours of cat videos.
And who doesn't want to watch 7 hours?
But they say these are educational and informative cat videos. So you will be blessed by viewing these cat videos. In the past, their big draw was celebrity cats. In the past, they've had Nala the cat, Luna Rose, actually.
I remember Luna Rose.
Yeah, you knew Luna Rose?
I was going to say, I've seen her on TV.
I remember Luna Rose. Oh. Did you know a Suki cat?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay, we're safe there. And this year, the attraction was going to be Lil Bub.
Lil Bub.
Lil Bub.
I love that.
Lil Bub.
It's like a beer drinking, swigging cat right on a Harley or launcher.
Yeah. That cat had 2.4 million followers.
Whoa.
2.4. That cat's making money.
That cat is way more celebrity than you or I at this point, at least.
But we have the advantage because Lil Bub has passed away.
Oh.
Yeah. Sad.
Poor Lil Bub.
And poor Lil Bub.
We're laughing at the
Can't
fact that
joke
Lil
about
Bub is
cats
dead.
dying. But we can.
Poor
And
Lil
so
Bub.
this year, pay your $10, go to edmontoncatfest.com for your 7-hour cat video fix.
Also in the news,
Ooh.
British vicar catches fire waiting for God's answer. That is the headline.
Tell me more. Don't leave me hanging there. I need to know.
He's okay. That's the good news. He didn't just get smoted, or smote. Not smoted, just smote.
Was that fire and brimstone, or?
A British vicar got more than he expected from his first attempt at an online sermon when he leaned too close to a candle on a cross and his sweater caught fire. Stephen Beach of St. Budeaux Parish, a church in Plymouth, southwest England, was getting his congregation to reflect on the experience of waiting in the final section of a sermon delivered from his home last week. It's a great thing to pause in the presence of God and ask the question, Lord, what are you going to say to us? He then realizes that his left shoulder has moved too close to the flame. Oh dear, I just caught on fire, he exclaimed, battling and blowing out the flame. Oh my word. Vicar Beach is fine, by the way, with no injuries from the fire. When asked about the reactions from his parishioners, he's quoted as saying, my family love it. The youngest grandchildren want to know when granddad is going to set himself on fire again. Beach at it.
Because it gets ratings. Wow.
We're not going to have any dangerous fires or flammable things going on in our background yet.
I mean, if it's warranted. Right?
If it's warranted, if we want to reenact, the poor vicar's, dilemma.
No, we'll do it different. We'll do it abnormal style. I don't know.
Abnormal style fire.
Oh, you know what we need? We need a Bunsen burner.
Ooh.
Something I don't have.
How do you get a Bunsen burner?
And who was this Bunsen guy anyway?
So our next section of the show is expert advice from the experts.
And now, expert advice from the experts.
Today's expert advice. Okay, so this is a segment about something that we might be proficient at, something we've learned how to do, and most likely useless to you. So here we go. How to make a homemade bow and arrow when when your anger at your brother is just to that level and you really need to settle the score. So believe me, the brother's always deserving it. So you go and grab a willow branch because you're out in the country.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, Frank was a farm boy growing up.
Yes.
Grew up on a farm. Where'd you grow up, Frank?
Manitoba.
Ah,
Out on the farm.
So.
And we had cattle, and we had chickens, and we had lots of grain and lots of stuff. So you go out and grab a willow branch, something about an inch thick, and cut off about 4 feet. Takes you a while. Every kid has his own pocket knife, right? So it takes, depending how small it is, it gives you a Rambo folding knife. So we'll go cut off, and this gives you time to increase your anger because this takes a while.
So you're stewing.
So you're just seething, right? So you cut it off.
Get that son of a bitch.
Peel the bark. Peel all the bark off because it does peel, and it peels nicely. And then it's nice and smooth. Looks the biz. This looks professional. You can sell it. And then you notch a ring in the top and bottom with your pocket knife. It's like a groove for baler twine to go into.
Describe baler twine for those of us,
Meaning
me, who doesn't know what baler twine is.
Baler twine, when you have crops and you have straw or you have alfalfa or whatever feed for cattle, then you bale it, and the strings that hold it together in a bale, baler twine.
That's what I figured. It had to do with bales of hay, but I didn't want to assume anything at this point.
It's very strawy type of stuff. It's twine. And so you make a loop in one end, a gauge. You have your length of willow branch, and then stop it by about 4 inches for length.
Yep, create that bow.
Loop in the other end. So when you're done, it's hooked onto the bottom groove, and it's about 4 inches shy. Then plant it in the ground, right leg over top, bend it, hook your loop on. Now you have a nice bow. You check the sound effects. And it has the good sound effects. And then for an arrow, you go and grab a raspberry stick. That's a dead raspberry stick. So it's nice and dry, it's light. It's very prickly. So again, you have to scrape it smooth.
How tall is a raspberry stick? I don't even know. You're talking
They'll
about like
grow,
the dead vine, right?
yeah, they'll go 4 feet to 5 feet, right?
They're pretty sturdy.
You only need a 3-foot arrow, right? And but a lot of them are straight as an arrow. And so you scrape it nice and smooth. Again, time, building your anger. He's so good at it. And then sharpen the end, of course, which is easy. Then you go and grab, because you're out in the country, you grab some pigeon feathers. And
this is like major. You're talking about a real arrow here. You're not.
It takes you a while to get this done.
And you're. I'm assuming you're notching the back too, right, for the string.
So you grab your pocket knife, and about 5 inches in from the back side, you kind of drill a little hole in there, and your feather, you'll scrape half the feather away, dig it into there, right? So you do 4 holes around the raspberry stick, and you have 4 feathers, and you steal some of your mom's thread.
You really went into.
Only a little
After
bit
he explains this, we're going to share the story with what created all of this. But keep going, please.
And so you poke the 4 feathers in the holes, right? And they're laying there, and then you grab the thread, round and round and round, and that brings them tight around the backside of, and then you cut off the excess feathers, and you have 4 feathers. And you notch a little groove in the back of the raspberry stick so that it can set in the string. And then, and so you want to be a good shot, because this takes so long to make 1 arrow.
I was going to say, it sounds like it takes longer to make the arrow than the bow, right?
Yes.
By a lot?
Yeah. So there's, you never had a quiver of arrows. You just had 1. So necessity means you have to be a good shot. So for me and the brother.
Yeah, so share with us the story that you told me about what
the yard is big, and I'm off making this. I can see in the house my little brother, he's younger, doesn't matter. And he's looking out the window. He knows what I'm up to.
At this point, you probably don't remember why he angered you, but you were angry and he was hiding from you in the house.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Just the point is I'm angry, and that has to be settled. So.
And this is how they settled things on the farm. This was
right.
Not, don't talk it out.
Yeah,
don't even wrestle.
Are you kidding? Talk it out for a city folk. So come marching, and I see him in the window, and I'm marching down there, and he is just the cartoonish face, and he ran further inside the house. Right? So I plant beside the door, and I'm yelling, "You got to come out sooner or later!" And then I hear in the house, mother yelling at him, "What are you doing in here? I told you to go out and play." So he's forced outside, and he knows I'm waiting. He comes bolting out of there, and I go, "Whoa, he's fast." Not fast enough. Right in the back. So he plays like he's dead, and he plays it up. Holy smokes, come on, it's a raspberry stick. And he goes, "I'm telling Mom." And I knew about then was about time for my dad to come home from going to town for coffee. So I'm like, I'm out of here. Run, and then I come home after it's dark and sneak my way in the house. And I don't remember half the next day. I just remember 1 shot. It's like sniper, 1 shot, 1 kill. Success. Go and save my arrow.
Well done. Well done. So kids, just think what you can do to your sibling if they get you angry enough.
This is only if you live on the farm. If you live in town, talk it out.
Uh-huh. We are in no way condoning this behavior.
That's right.
Led by our co-host Frank here. So
Farm kids know exactly what I'm talking about.
that's awesome.
City kids are horrified right now. That's good. Talk it out.
The funny thing is, I just want to share this with the audience. Frank has said time and again, this is a family show, and he literally just taught the kids how to make a weapon that could kill their sibling potentially if they do it right. So,
You know, me and the brother, we're pretty close these days, right?
yeah, it worked out.
There hasn't been any physical anger, I don't know, that's at least 20 years. So,
Excellent. Good to know. Oh, let's share with the audience how many siblings you had.
wow, I still have.
Still have. Nobody's died yet, man. I'm not that old.
Perhaps if I've been more successful. But,
Right, weapon minus one.
there are 9 of us. There's 6 boys and 3 girls.
That's crazy. Where do you
So
fall in
back
that?
then, mentality of, it was my dad cleared land, right? This is Manitoba. You buy some land and you clear it, da da da.
He immigrated from the Ukraine, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time you acquire a bit more land, you have to have another child to look after it.
You gotta make a team.
That's right. You create your own workforce.
And you have fun in the creation process, which is cool, right?
Well, hey, that's something not every employer can do.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
That
we
is
learn
life on the
the workforce for sure.
That's really cool, man. And this now leads us into our very first cartoon creation. We usually try to do 2 each show, depending on how it goes. And this will be our first one. We're going to share with you our brainstorming process. Frank is signaling to pause for a moment.
Let's put it out there that we entertain requests from the public.
That's true.
If you have an idea, go to our website. Just go find it. You'll find it. And
Abnormalville.com.
Yeah. And there's a spot there where you can submit an idea,
Yep.
a cartoon idea. And there are lots of stupid ideas, but we'll take that and make it better. We really will. Sometimes, like we have, I don't know, do we ever have a stupid idea?
Oh my God, yes. You'd be shocked at what some things start off as and what they end up as. It goes a very different road, and we'll kind of share that process here in a minute. But yeah, we welcome anyone who wants to send their ideas. Go to abnormalville.com, and there is a place where you can email us, and we'd love your feedback. Or if you don't want to go to abnormalville.com, email us at info@abnormalville.com, and we'll get it that way too. But we'd love for you to check out the site.
The disclaimer is you will never make money from this.
We're not going to pay you.
Yes,
Ever. What we will do as things go is we said we'd kind of give them a shout out, right? For, hey, this idea comes from...
You know, everybody gets their 15 seconds of fame. We'll give you 1.8.
1.8 seconds. Idea submitted from Joe Blow.
I'll set the timer at 1.8. You'll get your 1.8 seconds of fame.
But we absolutely would love you guys to help us, right? It keeps it fresh, keeps us new. And it'd be neat if your idea does make it, then you get to see like, holy cow, here's the final piece, right? There is satisfaction to that.
Oh, what are we going to create?
Yeah, with that, let's go to the whiteboard. So we had the cat show. That didn't inspire me all that much, nor did the vicar who was on fire. But there might be something there with the Bunsen burners, or...
You know, if you want to relate it to the times where we have coronavirus going on and a science teacher that's stuck at home. So what is he doing with his Bunsen burner?
I like this. Wait, this is a good start. Science teacher stuck at home.
Right. You need to correct the spelling on science.
Yes, we do.
Science, science, science. Reminded me with science. So he's got a Bunsen burner going, and What is he burning on there that he shouldn't be burning?
What's he burning that he shouldn't be burning? I like it. My handwriting's atrocious.
What if, so he's taking up cooking. he's got his Bunsen burner, so his wife is going to come in and stop him, but he's got the Bunsen burner, he's got an aerosol can, and he's going to cook a piece of chicken or something real fast. And she comes in, what? No. Or he just does a hot dog on a stick, and he could actually have the
maybe, you know how you dissect frogs in science class? Maybe he's cooking a frog.
Because when they dissect the frogs in class, he collects them and puts them in the freezer.
I mean, they'd be dripping with formaldehyde. It'd be really gross, but...
And that's what he's saying. Well, you have to burn off the formaldehyde. Or he says, no, the formaldehyde just burns right off. And so he's got the Bunsen burner, his aerosol can, and the flame is going. And he's toasting a frog.
I have an idea. What if there are two scientists on a date? Like two kind of nerdy.
Because she'll be into it then.
Yes. So above it are two frogs dangling. We're just going to do this for the frogs for now. And he's got it like kind of romantically, you know, and this is how scientists have their romantic dinners or something, right?
Yeah. A romantic scientists plural idea of a romantic evening.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Bunsen.
Or romantic dinner with the Bunsen. Yeah, we'll iron that one out. Yeah. So you guys know, this is again how Frank and I work. We'll have like an idea that we know we're going with. We might not have ironed out the punchline at this point, but it always does come together in the end. And we've had cartoons that have had like 3 different ideas, and we just put them all out there. Like it'd be a full drawn cartoon with 3 different kind of jokes or punchlines.
Viable ideas.
Yeah.
Each direction would be good, and then we have to pick one, right? That's hard.
It is hard sometimes because, you know, there's been times where I've really liked one and Frank's really liked one, and then we kind of go outside to our wives or take another vote, and someone has to let theirs go, right? For the sake of, damn, you know, but we know it's for the best, and that's
what's the cartoon needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's best.
We got to get out of our own way sometimes, which happens.
Sometimes.
Yep.
That's
so
a good.
I think with that,
right on.
Well, with that, we are now into our next segment, which is our sponsors. Are you suffering from UGI, unwanted groinal itching? Do you have chafing in your nether regions? Is your down under torn asunder Whoa. We have the solution for you. Dr. Peter's talcum powder. Freshly scented and designed to make your nethers soft as feathers. Just 2 puffs of powder and you'll go from crappy to happy. Dr. Peter's talcum powder. Look for it in your local drug or grocery store.
I want some.
Right?
I wonder if there's a shortage of it.
A COVID shortage of Dr. Peter's talcum powder. Which now brings us to our next segment, Teaching Moment with Miss Brown.
And now, today's teaching moment with Miss Brown.
Hello there, Mrs. Brown.
Okay.
My question is, what do you suggest we do while we're stuck at home during isolation? But what if my sister and I don't get along? Isn't that illegal, Miss Brown? But my mommy and daddy are going to be upset with me if I do that. But I don't want to be in trouble, Mrs. Brown. That's just mean. I don't like you, Miss Brown. I'm going to leave. Okay. I hope they.
And that takes us to our next cartoon. You know, I'll tell you, Frank, one thing I've been watching that I've been loving, if we want to go pop culture idea, is you have Netflix, right?
Not currently.
Okay. Well, one of the things they have now, it's called The Last Dance, and it's a documentary on the Chicago Bulls Michael Jordan era. You know, Jordan he loved golf, he loved gambling, but what if he was in a crochet group or something, or a bingo night, like was a big thing, right? Or
so to prepare before a game, Michael Jordan would take up quilting. And that's how he would like get in the zone.
That's a pretty good idea. How does Jordan get into the zone?
Yeah. The secret to his success, or whatever, right, was that he quilted before every game. That's not bad.
That's not bad. He always had his tongue out, right? What do you think? Yay, nay?
Yep.
Screenshot of it. Yeah, quilting's great because that is something that brings people, like, calms them down, right? That was kind of a running joke in a movie once.
Some interesting info on mac and cheese.
You do?
Yeah. So the guy that invented mac and cheese, Kraft, James Kraft, that was his name. So the first mac and cheese came out in 1937. And their first year, they sold 9 million boxes.
Whoa.
37. Crazy. He got the patent for powdered cheese in 1916.
Wow.
Well, that's his patent, powdered cheese. And So it became very popular during World War II because it was so cost efficient. That was the food rations that they would issue. That was based on a box of Kraft Dinner.
Wow.
Because so one food ration would buy you one box of Kraft Dinner. And you could feed a family of 4 for 19 cents at the time.
Wow.
So in 1943, 50 million boxes. And today they average 350 million a year.
Wow.
And the British don't call it mac and cheese, they call it cheesy pasta.
That's cool, man.
Your interesting moment for the day, mac and cheese.
Right on.
We'll call that the segment, Did You Know?
And this is something brand new. So Frank has just brought us the Did You Know? And I like this. We'll include this towards the end of our stuff.
This is a new segment. It's just birthed right here. Did you know?
So I got to ask, did you have this coming into this segment, or did you do it while we were trying to?
While I was scrolling stuff, and I just came across, hey, cool, interesting stuff about mac and cheese.
That really is actually very cool. Yeah, did you know, or some kind of historical thing? Yeah, I like it. I love it, actually.
Yeah.
Did you know?
That's a great way to wrap it up. But we still have one more segment we need to do. Story time with Keanu Reeves.
And now, boys and girls, it's story time with Keanu Reeves.
Hello, Frank. How are you today?
Hi, Keanu.
That's not Frank.
Well, that's, my nervous when I'm around Keanu. He makes me talk that way.
What's with that crazy voice, Frank? That's not the Frank Hildebrand I know.
Don't beat me up, Keanu.
So here we go. Today's segment of Story Time with Keanu Reeves.
What are you going to read today?
Today we are going to read Jack and Jill.
Oh, my favorite.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after.
Yay!
That's story time with Keanu Reeves. This is the end of our very first show. We are putting it out there regardless of what we have ready, how it went. We can do some cuts here and there, but we'd like to thank you for joining us and watching the Abnormal Hour. Anything you'd like to add with that, Frank, or any final thoughts?
If you have any unusual videos that you've taken about maybe your certain talent, maybe something you're good at or not good at, maybe something your pet is good at, whatever, we would be interested to see. And if it's something worthy of our show, because it has to rise to that level, right?
Which the bar is already really low, so it's not much at this point, right?
We need a lighter bar so we can lift it up. This bar is so heavy. Down, low.
I'm thinking of stupid human tricks and stupid pet tricks.
Yeah, something along those lines, right? Something you can do that's unique, and that will impress us. So, and we will post that as well on our show.
This is us impressing you with our unique talent of cartooning. So,
yeah. Music.
Thank you again, guys, for joining us, and we will see you next time.
And now we're leaving. We gotta go. And now we're leaving. It's the end of our show. We had a good time. It's come to an end. We hope you had a good time. A good time, my friend. And now we're leaving. That's the end of our show. And now we're leaving. We gotta go.